All right. Hey, let's get into a little birthday reading, shall we? For April 30th, the day of Dutiful Overload. We got a little bit of a picture of a spool of rope, I'm guessing there. Pull focus on it, you would see. Anyway. Hey, is it your birthday and you're here to find out a little bit about April 30th? Well, if it is, I just want to say happy birthday. And for all the rest of you who are in the channel, just out of curiosity, welcome. All right, let's dive in. April 30th, the day of Dutiful Overload. Your month is April, your day is 30, if you didn't know, and your sign is 9 to 11 degrees Taurus. Your period is Taurus I specifically, and your elements and qualities is fixed earth. All right, the day of Dutiful Overload. April 30 people are dominating personalities, but often have a desire to give up positions of responsibility and retire to a life of gracious ease. In discharging their professional responsibilities, they live by the book and are not easily granting exceptions or specializing in shows of human understanding, unless it lies in the general interest to do so. Though they make exacting bosses and managers, they are good enough to hold themselves to the same standards. Because for many on this day, duty is a god, they can be too reluctant to question their own basic assumptions or those of their superiors, and thus run the risk of doing a good job while heading off in the wrong direction morally. Those that become aware of this tendency stand a greater chance of success over the long haul, and though they may at first be uncomfortable with the uncertainty they will experience. Probably the greatest need of April 30 people is an authoritative position, is to be loved and respected by those working under them. As colleagues, they both enjoy and thrive on warmth of comradeship. In return, they tend to be highly protective towards their staff or fellow workers, who remain in their favor as long as there is agreement on certain basic issues. For those they dislike or consider beneath their dignity, those born on this day generally exhibit scorn or contempt. The need of April 30 people for affection from family and friends is also great. What they prize in relationships is freedom from irritations and strife, wishing both to be cared for and left alone. Children learn soon enough how to get what they want from an April 30 parent, who may seem intractable, but in reality is putty in the hands of a cleverly manipulative son or daughter. Those born on this day are particularly vulnerable to the charms of a child of the opposite sex. The way to persuade an April 30 person is most certainly not head on. Like a true Taurus bull, he or she will prove stubborn and immovable against what is perceived an aggression. On the other hand, those born on this day admire grace and cleverness, even when they see that a subtle argument is being used to turn them around. They must be aware of their tendency to bully others psychologically, intimidating through silence or implied threats. April 30 people sometimes reject their own power, particularly women who may relinquish authority to their father, brother, or mate. They should consider such a choice carefully, for it may eventually cause them unhappiness or frustration. Often mothers born on this day sublimate ambitious desires for their offspring. The nurturing qualities of this day tend to be very great, but April 30 parents must avoid smothering their children with too much well-meant attention. All right, let's move on to those born on this day so you can see what company you keep. Queen Juliana, Dutch 20th century ruler. As princess, she spent World War II in Canada and abdicated in favor of daughter Beatrice. Queen Mary II, she was a British 17th, 18th century ruler with a Dutch husband, William of Orange. Willie Nelson, the country singer-songwriter and film actor. Eve Arden, she was a comedian, film and TV actress. Percy Heath, who was a jazz bassist, the modern jazz quartet member. Jill Clayburgh, she was a film actress. Isaiah Thomas of the Detroit Pistons, all-star basketball guard, MVP, and 4 all-time in playoff assists. Don Schalander, a U.S. Olympic 5 gold medal winning swimmer. Frederick Chaluba, he was a Zambian president. Catherine Towell, she was a U.S. Marine Corps head. Franz Lehar, an operetta composer. Alice B. Toklas, she was Giroud Stein's partner cook and she wrote the Alice B. Toklas cookbook. John Crow Ransom, he was a poet critic and founder of the Keaton Review. Herbert Ferber was an abstract expressionist painter and a sculptor. Peter Herrens, British architect. Joachim von Ribbentrop, who was a Nazi foreign minister and convicted at Nuremberg for war crimes and thus hanged. Corinne Calvert was a film actress. John P. Humphreys, Canadian UN human rights worker. We got Robert Shaw. He was a choral orchestra conductor. Robert Shaw Choral, Atlanta Symphony. Let's see here. Same person. Louis Silcox is a mechanical engineer of the U.S. Canadian Railroads. All right, let's move on to your numbers and planets. Those born on the 30th of the month are ruled by the number 3, because 3 plus 0 equals 3, and by the planet Jupiter. Those ruled by number 3 tend to rise to the highest positions in their particular sphere, at home or at work. They also love their independence. Therefore, frustration may be encountered by those April 30 people who must be involved socially and cannot free themselves of certain obligations. Jupiter lends an optimistic and expansive outlook for April 30 people, enhanced by a love of beauty and comfort from Venus, the ruler of Taurus. All right, here's your tarot. The third card of the major arcana is the Empress, symbolizing creative intelligence. She is the perfect woman, the ultra-feminine Mother Earth nurturer, who is our dreams made real, our hopes and aspirations embodied. This card represents positive traits of charm, grace, and unconditional love, and the negative traits of vanity, affection, and intolerance for imperfection. And here's your health. Overindulgence of the senses, whether by eating, drinking, use of drugs, or sex, can pose dangers for April 30 people. Perhaps sensuality can be channeled into less problematical pursuits. In the case of April 30 people who subordinate themselves to another, the danger of internalized anger leading to depression, ulcers, or even cancers is real, and best dealt with preventatively through psychological treatment. Regular exercise outdoors is recommended for April 30 people, and the only danger being that this activity may become a passion that interferes with the business of life. Fresh fruits, vegetables, and salads are recommended as an alternative to heavy meat and starch consumption. All right, here's some advice. Try to listen as much as possible to your inner voice. Ask for higher guidance before making decisions. Consider the advice of your colleagues and friends. Cultivate tolerance. Keep a handle on your desires and be more self-aware. And here's your meditation. Ego massage is a pleasant pastime, but hardly the most rewarding. All right, here's your strengths and weaknesses. You are protective, professional, and resolute. And your weaknesses, demanding, immoderate, self-indulgent. All right, your season is spring, and once again, you're a Taurus I specifically, and your element and quality is fixed earth. And that has been April 30th, the day of Dutiful Overload. And once again, if it's your birthday, I just want to say happy birthday. All right, let's move on.